Hello, this is Liquid Ocelot, and today I have a new guest with me, like promised, and he's none other than the famous Mexican from Mates. How are you, Mexican?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you so much for coming as co-caster. And today we have a match with us. It's very popular from last year, Dimon versus Vindies, and the replay's title is "Economy is Not Everything." This replay has got critical acclaim and is very popular, almost got to Hall of Fame. Messi, can you please tell us about, we already know about Demo, tell us a little bit about Vindies. You have played with him close by in 3 versus 3 for a very long time. I think his biggest asset is his ability to him and Goldies to keep coming back and keep fighting with a positive attitude.
Yeah, Vindies is a very great player. When I met him, he started playing in 3v3, and it wasn't until that he got into mates that he started being a competitive 1v1 player. And he's really famous for doing a lot of rip jab build orders, both on 1v1 and in 3v3.
Okay, we already know more about Demon, but since you are a Soviets faction, I reckon he is one of your favorite players, Mexican.
In 1v1, yeah, I mean, Diamond is one of the best Soviet players that we've seen recently. Soviets are a hard faction to play with. You have to micro everything, not just your units. You have to micro your buildings. You have to, you have to pay attention more than usual. And Diamond does a great job of showing us how to play Soviets.
Okay, let's start the replay. One, two, three, press escape. On right hand side we have Windies, mates Windies as allies, orange allies. On left hand side we have yellow Soviets, Demon. So obviously we are going to expect um, standard openings from both players, both going their respective barracks.
Yeah, I mean, Rax is always usually a must on this map from both players, and obviously it's an AVS, so we'll see a lot of dogs, a lot of conscripts, a lot of bears, and a lot of PKs.
Yes, and Mexican, I have seen noted Windies making a selected amount of infantry and then he immediately sells off his barracks and his micro is so good that he somehow fends off incoming units.
Well, that's the key difference in one of the main differences in getting ahead in this map. If you have the infantry advantage, then you're off to a pretty good start. And Vindies is pretty good at microing.
Demon is smartly using more conscripts, and the other day some guy was asking what's the counter to mass dogs, and Demons told him to make more conscripts, and he's doing the same build order which you suggest. Um, no, he's not. He's reckoned for a faster war factory rather than a second refinery first. Perhaps he's expecting a cryocopter or something.
Yeah, he just wants to get out as much of a harassment early as possible, and that way Vindies is a little behind. But again, it's all about managing to micro all your units.
Right now, he's dominating Demon. The map control he has, but Windy somehow is having some sort of PK still alive.
Right. And he needs to take out that infantry because they're gonna be able to harass those vindicators.
In the meanwhile, Demon is going for a third expansion, at sea, and
Right.
it's a very difficult position. You being a Soviet player, you know that dolphins these days, everybody's preferred unit is dolphin because of the pace it provides. It's very fast. It can come and it can destroy sea structures and units and just run away from a cooler subs.
Yeah, definitely. Dolphins are very effective. The only thing is that they obviously can't land on land. So riptides also work as well. And as a Sov, going a sea ref, it's pretty hard to defend it. I mean, you can make a Tesla, it's expensive, um, but it's pretty hard to defend by itself.
I don't know how Demon micros the terror drone in sea better than anyone versus dolphins because he snipes dolphins somehow by evading the dolphin attack and diagonaling his terror drone somehow away just in the nick of time and snipe it. I don't know how he does it, but I have never seen any Soviet player do this kind of stuff. Vindies
It's
has a
pretty, yeah, the timing is pretty difficult to do that actually.
Vindies has a buck collector, and Demon has three bullfrogs in sea. Vindies has made seaport.
And you see that the Mon is 4 refs too.
Yeah, he's on fourth refinery and is queuing up a super reactor, and Wind is not opting for dolphins, he's going for riptides instead. And riptides are easily manageable, I think, because the terror drone can use stasis ray, and then you can come up with twin blades later in the piece, or maybe wait for the Tesla coil to build up.
Right. So that's why you should probably mix a dolphin in there,
He has done
which,
exactly that. He has mixed it up with a dolphin.
yeah. And it's also a good idea eventually to send out a hydrofoil in case twin blades come.
Almost he sniped that dolphin with good micro there, but the riptide he destroyed. So Demon lost two terror drones over there, and this is a horror case for Demon because um, he has lost three terror drones. Wind is somehow not attacking that Tesla coil. It's just
Yeah, kind of a little mistake right there from Vindy's part. He should have attacked it as soon as it was being built.
and like you were suggesting, maybe a hydrofoil would have done the trick as well,
Right.
blocking that Tesla coil perhaps.
Hmm.
One thing I like about Windows is that he doesn't waste um, over spams units. Like he's very to the point with unit building. Like I don't see any extra barracks. Um,
Oh yeah, definitely. Vindy's definitely knows how to macro. Um, and he's very good at microing his units too, so that he doesn't make too many or too little. He just makes the right amount.
Very good micro by Windows over there, blocking that Tesla coil with hydrofoil. and Dimon is attacking that Hydra foil, and
with his twins, yeah. And that was a very, very smart idea.
somehow he has managed to keep that fourth refinery alive, Mexican. And one
Yep, he was able to keep that third ref alive.
crucial thing is because Vindies is actually on four refineries as well, so it's very
Right.
it's very crucial for the moon to catch up economically.
And you see that he has a air superiority. He has bullfrogs. He has twins. He has MiGs.
Wind is countering this with assault destroyers.
Right.
I think it's a very good unit, better than Guardian tanks in some ways because it's healthy, very very healthy.
And the shield itself makes a big difference. And I'm still surprised that Demon has that C ref still.
Vindies has just taken out a collector with the assault destroyer.
Actually, no, he didn't take it out. Um, Demon moved it by his airfield.
Yes, 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 sorry. I didn't notice that. Good noticing.
So he managed to save it.
So this is what the title said. It said 2 versus 5 refineries, and
Right.
right now Windies has 4 and Demon has 5.
Right. And he has a naval by his fifth that you can see.
Mm, don't you think that this turret, this AA turret from um, Soviets is a bit spammable because it's not that expensive and its health is too powerful. It's too healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good thing to deter any type of cryo Vindies.
Some problem with micro or maybe bug with MiG jet fighters because the moon couldn't manage to take out that Apollo fighter, one Apollo and 3 MiG fighters.
And Apollos are incredibly fast too.
He has mixed in some bullfrogs now,
Yes,
and in the meanwhile, the moon has sniped the refinery in sea.
that's right, with that Akula.
He's going a bit javelin heavy and he's taken out 2 twin blades and he's moving
Yes,
for an attack. So, uh, what the moon did was smartly he has taken out sea refinery. So it's 5 ref versus 3 now at the moment.
that's right. And see, that's the thing about allies that they don't even need that many refs to be able to beat you. They can beat you in so many different ways, and the most important way that they can beat you is with the Cryogeddon. That changes everything.
Especially on this map, Infinity Isle, because uh, you your units are stacked up together in a way, and
Right.
you don't have enough space to move your units like properly.
Especially when you're on that rift.
And Vindies has sniped NCV of Demon.
Yeah, he did. He ran it over.
Yes, but too many bears perhaps and hammer tanks. Um,
Well, that's the only thing you can really do. You can micro them as much as possible with that leech. And hammer tanks used to be really good before this patch because you would be able to reverse while leeching.
as well, the flank trooper nerf. I never understood why this unit is so expensive. They they cheapened the conscripts but made flank trooper expensive. So most people who are not good at micro with Soviets, they don't use flank troopers that much. It's a dead unit
Yeah.
close range.
Um, Usually we use flax more against Imp than against allies.
I think versus Empire, perhaps Tesla troopers are used more.
Oh yeah, definitely. They make a big difference versus tsunamis and versus infantry as well and Tengu. Very effective.
Now we see a harassment from Vindies Mexican, and he will take out his
Yes.
refinery, but I think he has lost a lot of units.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. That harassment was not worth it because Damon had flax, he had bullfrogs, he had MiGs, and Vindies lost a lot.
And at the moment, this match is being sort of units wise. Demon has a lot of units, six hammer tanks, three
Yeah, I mean,
flanks.
just at the look of it, you would have thought, okay, this is an easy win for him. But like I said, um, allies can beat you in so many different ways.
Yes, you never know, especially with Windies. He's him and Goldie are. They never back out of a fight. They will fight till the end.
Right, of course. And that's what makes matches against him so unpredictable. You think, all right, I won this game. I can, give the other guy a chance. And by doing that, you actually end up losing. And pay attention to Vindies as he has an aircraft carrier too.
Yes, this has just bludgeoned this army from Demon. Ice all over the place. Maybe some cocktail or something.
What was that?
I see ice, so much ice all over the place. I feel like having a cocktail or something.
Yeah,
And the moon has taken out a refinery with two flank troopers.
that's right. So that's where we see that Vindies was on two refs.
and those MiG fighters are doing nothing. This is poor micro from Dimon.
Yeah,
Should
and
have
again,
been
that's the thing. Vindies is very great with his Apollo micro.
maybe Dimon thought that an IFV might be coming or something, and maybe he should have focused on the refinery. If maybe he focused on refinery, Vindies might have lost this refinery as well.
Right.
What surprises me though is Vindies doesn't have any IFVs. He's totally dependent on these.
Yeah, that would have made a big difference. IFVs are great against MiGs and twins, and when they're on aggressive, they're very, very good. You can micro with them very well.
The moon has a lot of flag troopers.
Yes, he does. And that's the one thing you don't really see too often from Sov players is them going flax against allies. It's just a lot of bears, a lot of bullfrogs, and a lot of hammers.
Yes, but I think the moon should be more aggressive perhaps on land. He's trying to take care of that assault aircraft carrier at the moment with the Kula subs. It's made too big
Yeah,
of Kula subs.
and Vinny's was able to shrink it. And then Vindy's was able to send it all the way around to Demon's other ref.
Yeah, he's that's smart thinking, and this is exactly what uh, Dimon was talking about in the thread. He said that the problem is not health with the Soviet sea units. It's about uh, it's the problem is with the pace of Allied sea units. It's too fast. He said
Oh
they
yeah,
are
definitely. I
having
mean, the
problems with.
fastest unit that Souls have in sea is a Stingray. You know, Akulas are very slow, and not only that, but Akulas are also very buggy in pathfinding.
Sometimes a dolphin can also get bugged, and a Yari mini sub as well.
Yeah, true. The only good way you can try and unbug it is to jump it over something.
A spy is mixed in the army by Vindies.
Yes, that's right. He dressed it as a flak trooper.
this is a vicious attack from Vindies, the land army. I don't know how he managed to build up such a big army. I think those flag troopers uh, not only cost more, but I reckon it would have been better if he went more twin blade or more hammer tanks, perhaps.
Right, to possibly leech one of those mirages. And that's the thing, as you said earlier, flags are just really expensive.
I think back in the day, Nuke Strike, I heard a lot about him, and people say that he was very into making lots of flank troopers, and because his terror drone micro was so good, he would spam those flank troopers.
The bad thing about flag troopers too, though, is that they don't really do a lot of damage compared to tank busters or jabs.
Yes, unless you are mixing them up with terror drones, I think you have to. Uh, everybody will tell you that terror drones are OP, but versus allies, people mostly discourage usage of terror drones, except in tank battles, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, terror drones are amazing when you're going tanks on tanks. But the thing about allies is that you're also expecting cryos and vindies, so
And
kind of makes
peacekeepers
you
and
hesitant.
peacekeepers especially, they're even more deadly than IWs. IWs take a couple of volleys, and peacekeepers they they tend to one shot them down.
Yeah, exactly.
So we see Demon losing all of his refineries in
Right, so now he's only on
combat.
two.
Uh, yes, he is on two refineries almost.
And pay attention to that flak spy that Vindy has.
Yes, somehow he has managed to make him survive. I want to see economy of Demon if he's yes he's floating a lot of money Mexican like 8,500.
Yeah, but I mean, where is he gonna go? He lost his main base. All he has left is sea.
Yes, but maybe with use of protocols and stuff he can spam twin blades perhaps. Twin blades or
Perhaps, yeah. But the fact that he's only on two refs and that he's at sea makes him very, very vulnerable because he's gonna have a hard time to be able to defend that. If it was on land, he would have a lot more choices to defend. But Sovs on sea are very weak. And did you see that flag spy that Vindy's had?
yes, yes,
You see how he managed to get that bottom ref?
yes. That's very good thinking from Windies. But if I were Demon, I wouldn't sell it because of the spy.
Well, that's one of those risks you take.
Maybe he masked it like an engineer or something. Maybe he fooled Demon or something.
Yeah. But again, that's one of those things that allies have that make a big difference as well. Spies. If you do not scout a spy and you get sucked into the bribe, that's also a game-changing moment right there.
Problem with allies and empire is, especially allies, their units are not they have riptide from war factory, and that's it. No other units can go to sea.
Right.
Soviets have bullfrogs and terror drones. Uh,
Exactly.
so if they stack up a lot of units, like they don't have crusher train to crush it or something,
Right.
but they do have that economy protocol, which is very crucial in endgame. That multiplies your the amount of time you collect ore.
And you see that Dimon got his MCV cryoed.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't understand Mexican.
Oh, I said that Dimon got his MCV cryoed
Okay.
on C on the south.
Yes, yes.
So Dimon was left with no eco. He lost all his refs.
It's just a matter of time that Windies win this match.
Yeah, and he even went dual naval at one point.
The moon is trying to fight it out, though. He's still trying desperately to fight with that red fleet.
Yeah, he was using the dreads, couple of stingrays and bullfrogs, but in the end, it's a losing battle with no economy.
I thought he had a crusher train nearby, but he doesn't have any crusher train.
He lost it. He had the crusher crane on south.
Yes, game is over, and was a very entertaining and intense game, Mexican, and I think we both agree that Dimon was in driver's seat, but somehow he managed to lose like 10, 11 flag troopers to that Cryogeddon, and after that the game went directly into the hands of Vindies.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the thing about Allies players that they don't need a lot of refs to make a big difference in a game. As long as they have T3, they have so many different options. Vindy's used that aircraft carrier earlier to use a blackout missile on those tanks, and then he used a cryogeddon to finish them off.
Yeah, that was a killer blow from Vindies, and very good and entertaining game over here. Mexican, before we go, I wanted to ask you, where do you see Red Alert 3 future in 2017, and will we be at least hear about a new game from Command and Conquer series. Maybe a new Kane's Wrath, or maybe um, a new Red Alert, or maybe Journals perhaps. What do you say about that?
Well, as far as 2017 goes, it's still early. We're barely in January, and regardless, a lot of times we've been saying that the RA3 community is dying, and yet we see old players showing up randomly. We saw Dankel come back a couple of times, WoW for a few games. Happy's been coming back and forth. To be honest, you never know. You never know the fate of RA3. A lot of old players can show up. A lot of new players can show up. As long as we have an active community, I think we'll be fine for now. And as far as a new C&C game in general, that's what all of us want. We've been playing this game for a very long time, and it was the newest game that C&C made besides C&C 4, which was a complete failure.
Yes,
So,
and do you blame the testers at Victory Games, the testers who said please don't release the Generals 2, because I think Generals 2 would have been a much better game than CNC 4 was. They had a new engine, and Frostbite engine was introduced, and the old Sage engine was removed, and we saw Melanie Mack playing Journals too, and there was some hype around it. But players, what do you say? Maybe they shouldn't have. They should have said go ahead with it like Stronghold did. And the Stronghold, good thing about them is that they have patched it so many times that they have fixed a mediocre game altogether.
I think it's a shame that they had canceled it. I mean, it was still in the early stages, but they didn't really give it a chance. We were all looking forward to it, and the fact that they canceled it kind of broke our hearts because we've been waiting for such a long time. I mean, RA3 is what, almost 9 years old now, and we've been waiting for a new C&C game. But yeah, I think the testers should have given it more of a chance, you know. And I don't think it should be a free to play game. I think we should pay for it, and they should give us great content. You know what I mean?
Maybe we should pay when it's released. Maybe what do you say, with a season pass, $60 price, with including a season pass, because later you will get expansion, free expansion perhaps, and
Yeah,
uh,
something like that.
people can wait for the discount periods like Christmas or Black Friday or
Right,
Thanksgiving perhaps.
right. But either way, I don't like DLCs in general. Just the fact that they make you pay for it. You know what I mean? I think they should just give us a great game, great content already.
Yes, yes, you are right. But what I am shocked about, Mexican, is that an old franchise like Battlefront, they have revived it somehow. EA games are about mood, and as soon as they saw a movie come out last year, Star Wars, they mixed it up with the marketing team of the movies and cranked out a new game, and now they have done exactly that with the another movie this year, um, and they have made an expansion pack for Star Wars Battlefront. Maybe the fans of CNC should ask OA Bowl, perhaps uh, the B movie director, to direct a CNC movie, perhaps. Uh, this might
Um,
this might
I don't
encourage
know.
EA Games to make another one, because I don't see them focusing on this franchise anymore. They are focusing on Titanfall and Battlefield and Battlefront. Even Part Two is coming out, and same old series, which they are milking all the time. The FIFA, NFL, NBA series.
Well, the thing is that those are very well-known series, so they already have a lot of fans. But I definitely think that I don't know about a movie for CNC, if that'll make much of a difference, but we as a community, not just Red Alert, but Command and Conquer in general, there's a lot of fans worldwide, and we've all been waiting for a new CNC game anyway. And I think if they have a good marketing team, you know, they'll be able to sell a lot of copies. And if they make a great game, obviously we all miss Westwood. You know,
Yes,
Westwood was the studio that made
at
everything
least
possible.
at least the EA Games Los Angeles department, which made us Kane's Wrath and Red Alert 3, those were the last decent games from them. After that, like Uprising was a total disaster because no multiplayer, and CNC 4 and this Tiberium Alliance or whatever they call it, a children card game or something. On mobile you can play it. It's very disappointing uh, what this new set of developers are doing with this game, and they're trying too hard to compare it with StarCraft 2. Perhaps StarCraft 2 is something different. It's a macro based game. More macro is involved in it. And last question for me before we go. I'm sorry, Mexican, it's been a long game already. Are you excited for Halo Wars 2 and Dawn of War 3, Mexican?
You know what? I never really played Halo. I never had an Xbox. So to be honest, I'm not really excited about it. But that's
It's
just
a
me.
strategy game, base building and stuff, and it's from Microsoft. I think Bungie Studios is making a strategy game. Um, a lot of people are showing excitement for that. I don't think so. It will be another Command and Conquer because people were really hyped up for this act of aggression in our community. They said it's journals too, but it was a very bad experience for everybody, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. And there was also the closest thing was Grey Goo.
Yes, Grey Goo was a good, decent effort, but they had no replay system at first, and people have stopped. Pro players have stopped playing that because there are no tournaments at the moment. I think so. The competitive scene is low.
Right. So, I mean, all we can do now is just hope that EA has something up their sleeves for some type of Command and Conquer game. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, thank you so much, Mexican. Take care and God bless you.
You too, Liquid Ocelot. Nice doing this dual cast with you.